I think the first thing is wherever you go in the world, but especially Africa, if your brand precedes you, it's going to make your job easier in marketing and creating a consumer. So now with television networks and that sort of thing, you want to make sure that you can actually perhaps have one message that cascades over all the countries you want to go into. So the first thing is I would suggest you've got to get a brand, you've got to have a brand, and then you've got to create an awareness of that brand. A lot of people seem to stop when you talk about awareness. And if you follow the model of AIDA, which is awareness, and then you create interest, then you create desire amongst your consumers, and then you want adoption. So that's really what you need to do, especially in any new country, but also in existing countries, so you keep the momentum of your consumer. Basically, some people forget that if you don't have something trademarked, you actually don't own it. And trademarks, as I mentioned today, come in various forms. It might be the name, the logo, the get-up, it might be a slogan or a catchy line, it might be shape, as we've had with Toblerone, colour, smells and sounds. All those things can be trademarked. And often people might find that they own the trademark perhaps in one territory, but not in another. And that can be an issue, especially when you have mergers and acquisitions, when you need a due diligence. Often one of the first things is to find out who owns the brands and can you take them over. Now, we've certainly worked with South African multinationals, whereas they've gone into different countries, that's become a key issue. I'd better not name names, but you can think of some of the South African companies that are now global. And that is always a key issue. Who owns the trademarks? Can we take them over? Are they in place? And are they totally, utterly secure? Another thing is to remember that with trademarks, you don't just do it. You keep on doing it. People like BMW, actually, as a global philosophy, is to try and reinvent and re-register or register for the first time new things all the time. I think with any brands, and remember today brands are people, products and services, but their countries, their cities, all the things are brandable today. So you've got to make sure you stay relevant. And that means you've got to keep adapting and adjusting. We've been talking earlier today about the average age of the population of Africa being under 22, 23 or so. So you've got to resonate with everyone and you've got to stay relevant with everyone, which means you've got to keep your finger on the pulse all the time of what's going on. And that might mean you have to change. Now, some people are quite critical of a brand like Coca-Cola, which is now, 128 years old or so, but it's stayed relevant and it's always gained traction with the local community, often the younger local community, which means they stay in place as a strong brand. Otherwise, we see brands coming and going, and that's the end of it. When you create a brand, you've got to stay relevant and keep on going, and that means you've got to keep on investing and working at it.